Hello, this is Pastor Speckard. I hope you can see me in the reflection there. And I've got a mask and glove on here. And I'm going to be showing you how it is that we are doing worship and communion. I'm going to pull the glove down, or the mask down a little bit, so that I can talk a little bit easier. But I'll have that on later to show you. But this is how you would come to church. And again, during this time, we're having church with communion services, but we're encouraging anyone who is elderly or who has pre-existing conditions or who lives with such a person to continue following the guidelines and watch via live stream. And we know that not everybody is going to be able to come to church, but just we wanted to show everybody in the congregation how it is that we are doing this according to the guidelines and having communion services. So you'll notice the first thing is that the door is propped open already. Nobody has to touch the door to walk in. And the interior door is also propped open. And we have the posted notice of all of the state guidelines and requirements for social distancing in place. You walk in, and as usual, the offering is there with the sanitizer. And the bulletins will be spread out on a larger table, but you just pick one up. You won't be handed anything by an usher. There are no hangers in the coat rack, nothing to hang up. You just have to take, if it's cold, you take that in with you. The doors to the sanctuary will be propped open. You'll notice that there are no hymnals or friendship pads or anything like that in the pews, nothing to touch. And you'll notice all of the ropes. So every other pew is roped off, and in fact the middle of these middle sections is roped off. So you can only sit in every other pew, and you can only sit family groups on either end. So you can't really get close to anybody else when you are seated in the sanctuary. You'll also notice that we have these tables set up all along the communion rail on both sides, as well as these little metal bowls in the stands. And I'm going to show what that looks like for setting up communion. So as we go back here, you'll notice that communion is going to be set up on Saturday morning, and it will just be by one person. And we have the gloves and the masks here. So that person will be masked and gloved, like you saw me at the beginning of the video. And then you'll also notice these trays, and what these have in them is it's a little plastic cup with the individual communion cup and the wafer inside it. And we've got those laid out on trays, and then we use this thing, which is very, very handy. You fill it with wine, and then when you just push that red button, it puts a little bit into each cup. So it's very easy to do without anybody having to touch anything. And we'll take these trays on Saturday morning, once the wine is in the individual cups, we will take them back out and we will spread them all along these tables. So there will be just about 12 or 15 on each of these tables. So they won't even really be close to each other, spread out. We'll do the words of institution for all of them. So we will consecrate the elements in the service, not beforehand. And then one section from each side will come up, and you'll have to walk all the way around, especially if you're in these middle sections. You'll come out your pew, and you'll walk around to the front. And I've got one of these right here as a demonstration. You'll pick that up. Pastor Stock or I will be on the other side of the rail, say, take, eat, take and drink. You might have to set it down briefly just to have access to it. I only have one hand right now. And then when you're done, the wafer will obviously be gone, and you'll just place the big cup and the little cup in that receptacle, and then you'll have to go all the way back around your section, because you won't be able to cut through with those ropes there. So everybody is going to have to walk all the way around the section in order to come up for communion. It doesn't really take that long. For one thing, it's not a big crowd, but one family group at a time comes forward. and does that and goes back to their seat. And then you'll notice that after the service, you're going to be ushered out. So, and we're going to do that a different way, or we did it a different way, and that is we do it from the back. Normally at a wedding or something like that, you think of people being ushered out from the front forward, but even just to avoid people walking past each other who might not be comfortable with that, if you're sitting right here in the back row, you're going to be ushered out first, and then the person in front of you. And what you're going to be encouraged to do is to go out and place your bulletin in the recycling bin right there, unless you would like to take it home with you, but we're not going to reuse it. And go straight out the door. We're not going to have gatherings of people talking here in the entryway. If you do really want to talk to somebody that you haven't seen, we just encourage you to be outside to do that, not here in the church. So you can see that you can come without touching a door, without touching an usher, without sitting near anyone else, and even taking communion. You are only picking up that little plastic cup that was set out Saturday morning by a gloved and masked person, and not even coming that close to the pastor, whichever pastor is on your side, and returning to your seat and ushering straight out. So it's being done very safely and responsibly to the very best of our ability, and we understand that not everybody can participate because of the health restrictions and people's different circumstances. But we just wanted everybody to be aware of how we're doing it here at St. Paul's as we go back to having 3 services with communion each weekend, knowing that much of the congregation won't be able to participate in those until further notice. So I'm back out here, got the mask back on, and maybe can see you this weekend or Sunday, but I understand probably not. And whenever we can, be in contact. We certainly want to keep God's gifts flowing as best as we're able here at St. Paul's. Thanks.